What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is Leo's Nerd Talk, and today we're going to be talking about Joker, Folie, Deux. So let's get into that. Hi, my name is Leo. To be as I talk with a movie, TV show, video game related, or just anything nerdy, you have come to the right place. And like I said, today we're talking about Joker, Folie, Deux. So without further ado, let's get into the review. Now, this was my most anticipated movie of the year. The original Joker is one of my favorite movies of all time, for sure in my top 50 movies of all time. So I was very, very excited to see where they were going to take this franchise or this character, where they were going to take him next. The first Joker is inherently a movie that doesn't really feel like it needs a sequel. It sets up obviously a very important character within the DC universe with Bruce Wayne as Batman, and it sets up this kind of pseudo Joker character that we get here obviously within the movie, but it didn't really feel like it had a proper follow-up into Joker, Folie, Deux. But of course, with Joker being the first R-rated movie to reach over $1 billion in the history of cinema, it was of course inevitable that a sequel was coming. But did I enjoy it as much as the original Joker? Did I have a good time with it? Is this a musical? Is this not a musical? Is it controversial? Let's get into all of my thoughts here right now. Now, starting with my pros, I think both Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga honestly did a fantastic job of what they were given. Of course, Joaquin Phoenix did an amazing job in the original Joker, and he transcends again into this role very, very easily and kind of gets back into that very dark, sadistic, creepy, but also cringy type of character that you honestly love in the first one, that is hard to watch, but you can't keep your eyes off of him. And then we have Lady Gaga, who inherently isn't a star actor, A-list actor. She's done a couple of movies that she's been very good in, and I actually really enjoyed what she does here for what she's given. There's some things that I really enjoy about her character. Like, for example, I do like the introduction of Harley Quinn and the way they kind of did it. The way the trailer kind of made you expect something from her character, but then they, take your expectations and reverse it on you in this movie. And I liked the way they did that. And also for what she was given, again, I think she did an amazing job in this role. I can definitely see her as this kind of Harley Quinn. There's obviously, I feel like she wasn't utilized as much, which we'll get into later on. But overall, for what she was given, I think performances between her and Joaquin Phoenix were done very, very well. And I just think this movie was shot beautifully. The usage of lighting, the usage of shot choices and direction, and all the different cinematography that is going on here. I think this was done so, so beautifully. It was so pleasing to see on screen. Like I said, especially the use of lighting, the way they frame these shots with the lighting. Like, there's a scene where Joker's being interviewed by like the psychiatrist, and she asks him, does Joker want to talk to me? Does Arthur Fleck want to stay in the background? Do I need to speak with Joker? And like, you see the light up in his face, in Arthur's face, as it shoots like a shot from behind him, and the sun glare goes through, like if he kind of like had an idea. Like, just utilizations like this, or like when they throw him into a cell and they close the door and only the light hits his eyes, like things like that. I just feel like the movie was just shot so beautifully. It was directed so nicely. But again, the utilization of light, I thought, was done very, very well. So this was just an absolutely pleasing movie to watch. Overall, I like what they're trying to do here. I don't think execution is the best. However, I like the story beats and the plot beats that we're kind of going to. I do somewhat like this kind of half courtroom drama type of movie. Again, execution may not be the best, which we'll get into a little bit later. But overall, I think the idea of what they're trying to do here, the conversation that they're trying to have, was overall a good starting point. Whether it actually was done properly for you or for me or whoever that watches this movie is a completely different story. But I do think the idea and the choices that they did with the character and how they decided to move this character's plot forward, I actually genuinely enjoyed. And I know a lot of people were worried with the musical aspect of it. Was this a musical? Was this not a musical? We had multiple reports of Lady Gaga saying this is not a musical. It just has musical numbers in it. And I can agree with her to a certain extent. There was a portion or a good majority of this movie where the musical numbers for me weren't like a musical, where it was more like Arthur in his own mind trying to express his emotions, trying to understand the situation that he's in through music. And yeah, sure, you can argue, well, yeah, that's what a musical is, sure. But I don't think it was utilized in a way to make it like a musical until we got to about third act stuff, and there was big musical set pieces and things like that. So for the first hour or so, it didn't feel like a musical. It just felt like a smart choice to show what Arthur is feeling. So I did enjoy, for the most part, all the songs that were done here. There were some that were like, okay, we heard it enough. But for the most part, I actually genuinely enjoyed the kind of musical aspect of it. And lastly, this movie took a bold swing in the last moments of the movie. Obviously, I'm not going to get into any spoilers, but it took such a big swing in introducing a character and giving Arthur a ending to his story that it might ruin the first movie. It might not ruin the first movie, but for me, I think it worked. It made sense in my mind. I understood what they were trying to do, and I get it. I get it. It makes sense for me. It is not going to work for everybody. That is 100% clear. Some people are going to see that and be like, well, that was fucking bullshit. Then why did we spend time with Arthur to begin with? And that's all I'm going to leave it at. But for me, I think the ending took a bold swing. And for me, it absolutely worked. It fits with the timeline of this Joker universe. So I absolutely enjoyed the way the ending presented itself. But now heading into my cons. And the biggest con is just the utilization of the story. Like I said, I think the idea of what they were trying to do, what the message they were trying to have a conversation about was good. I understood what they were trying to do, but the execution didn't really make sense. I felt like this did feel a little bit like a jumbled mess where they're kind of going back and forth between this romance, comedy, kind of thriller, psychological bullshit stuff going on versus a musical, and throwing a little bit of courtroom drama in there. So there was a lot to kind of throw into this movie. And that's where it's hard to say like this was the clear direction for this character. It makes sense. I understand it. It does kind of make sense that this is the direction the character would go. Obviously in the last movie he gets arrested, and him having a trial for his own release kind of makes sense, but just the characters weren't utilized properly. I think Arthur as Joker felt a little more tamed than he did in the first one. Like they really try to like hit home with this whole like multiple personality disorder with Joker, and they forget all the different illnesses he had previously in the past. Like his laugh is like kind of not utilized anymore in this movie. Like the whole card thing, that he laughs when he feels stressed out or has a different emotion, that doesn't really play a part anymore. Like he laughs barely in the movie. So they really try to hit home in this multiple personality disorder, which I thought was a cheap way of getting him out, but it just felt a little off, and they try to change what illnesses he has. And then again with Harley Quinn, I think what they gave her was great. I like the way they introduced her and how they kind of twisted that little expectation you have of Harley Quinn's character. But this didn't feel like a Joker and Harley Quinn movie like they made it seem like it was going to be. This felt like a Joker movie that had Harley Quinn in it. She really didn't play too big of a part in my opinion. She was kind of just in the background smiling at Joker every time Joker looked at her. So I think she did a great job for what she was given. I just wish they utilized her more. There was so much potential with her character, and she just wasn't in the movie enough. And for me, the movie kind of dragged a little bit. When I felt like the movie was starting to wrap up and starting to finish its final plot beats and start to slow down and it's going to get to the final climax, we were only an hour in. And by the time that happened and we just kept going and going and going, I felt like it just kept trying to introduce new things, trying to prolong some of the different plot beats with Arthur, and it just felt a little too long by the end of it. This movie, I think, is like 2 hours and 14 minutes. This felt like almost a 3-hour movie, 3-hour long movie. So it for sure felt pretty winded, pretty long-winded. This movie for sure for me feels like something that I can't really watch over and over again. I'll probably watch it every once in a while, if I want to do a Joker 1-2 kind of little double feature. But for sure, this movie is not as rewatchable as the first one, even for as cringy or as difficult of a watch the original Joker is, for how like dark it is. It's a lot more rewatchable for me versus what this movie looks like. This movie feels like I cannot watch this movie whenever. Like, I'm not going to enjoy this movie after the fact as much as I did for the first viewing in theaters. So for sure, rewatchability is a big portion for me, and this movie does not feel like it's going to be rewatchable at all. And also wish we saw a lot more of just Joker in general, you know, like this was mainly a Arthur Fleck trial movie, an Arthur Fleck courtroom drama. This didn't feel like a Joker movie. So I just wish we saw a lot more Joker, a lot more of that craziness that we saw in the first movie, and that just wasn't here. So there was a lot of things that were done so well, but just the execution of everything was just not to the tier of the first movie, in my opinion. But overall, let me know what you guys thought about Joker Folie Deux. I had a good enough time with it. I definitely think this is a movie you should still go watch in theaters just because you want to be part of the conversation. It's a very beautifully shot movie. So just for that alone, it's a very fun movie to go watch in theaters. But if you're not the biggest fan of the first one, I would highly, highly recommend waiting till this gets on streaming. But again, if you guys like talking about the movie, TV show, or video game later, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you.